friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin. If you're not new, thanks for coming back. Always happy to have you. If you are new here, I like to do a lot of book, lifestyle, reading and writing content here on this channel. So if you enjoy any of those things, make sure you think about hitting that subscribe button and sticking around to see all the good videos we have coming up. This is one of my favorite videos to create here on my channel, one of my favorite new series for 2023, and that is my monthly TBR video. Today we have April's TBR video, which is a little bit longer than last month's video. I hope you can't see any of them. We are not spoiling today, ladies, but I did post this video pretty recently for March. I was a little bit late on the March one, so I got ahead and I have the April one ready to go. Listen, April's gonna be busy. I am in the process of moving into an apartment house with my boyfriend, so I know I'm gonna be spending a lot of time moving this month. We also have holidays, we have book club, but we have all sorts of stuff going on. I have a TBR. How much of it we read, I don't really know. We're gonna see. I did pick books that I'm very excited about, and this is not typical for my TBR videos, but I have all of the books I'm going to read except for one, and the other one I'm getting from the library. So I have the books I want to read. We might still get a lot of reading done with my commuting, so we shall see. Whatever I can get read though, I will be happy with. I do think that I will also be doing a separate video on books that feel like spring that's separate from this April TBR, because I have books that would feel perfect for the month of April, but they're just not on my TBR, and I'm not going to try and read them, so I didn't want to include them here. If that's something you'd be interested in, like a seasonal TBR or spring book recommendations, let me know down in the comments, because I have a lot of good ones that feel like perfect for spring. As always with my TBR videos, I like to give myself some guidance, some books that fit like the vibe of the month, but I don't necessarily hold myself to this TBR. I won't just read from this pile. I give myself some flexibility. I end up with things that weren't on this TBR, which is what the wrap-up videos at the end of the month are about. These books are in no particular order. I've just kind of pulled them of books that I'm excited to read for the month of April. The first book that I'm going to talk about, I don't have. It's the one that I don't have, and I don't have it for a very specific reason. For my book club this month, I have to read a book, Killer Angels, which is part of a series. It's a historical fiction Civil War novel by Michael Shara. I have been trying to be better about, for book club specifically, not buying books that I don't feel like I'm gonna like or I need to have on my shelves. So I have been just getting them from the library. I do have to read that book this month, and honestly probably pretty soon, because my book club is on April 15th and I need to give myself a little bit of time to read it, but I only have a 2-week window when I borrow books from Libby, so I have to kind of time it just right. I'm not the most excited to read it, but I'm open to it. I like some historical fiction. I do like history things. It just might not be my writing style. I think it's from like the 80s. This one I feel like is just kind of a doozy to start with, but we have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. This is the Dreamland Billionaires series, book 1. I have started this book before, but I don't really remember it. But this is a contemporary romance. I don't want to say it's a rom-com because I think it more airs on the side of smut. Judge me if you will. That's like loosely inspired by Disney World, or like it's a fantasy theme park. We'll say that. So I have this. This was all over my TikTok and Bookstagram and everything, and the third one just came out because I think there are three brothers in this series, and each book follows a different brother. So this is the first one. I'm getting ready to go to Disney for 24 hours, so I am reading all the kind of like Disney inspired things, and this is on the list. Next is along the same theme of books to get ready for my trip to Disney. I, in March, did read A Twisted Tale, which I was super excited about. I read Go the Distance, which is the Hercules Twisted Tales series. So I do in fact have another Twisted Tale that I'm going to try and read this month, and that is What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. I keep wanting to say At Last I See the Light, but that is not the title of this book. This is What Once Was Mine. What if Rapunzel's mother drank a potion from the wrong flower? I don't really know what that means. It's not necessarily the twist I would have taken, but I don't really know what twist I would have done. Did start this one briefly. This is a Liz Braswell Twisted Tales retelling. I think I've talked about it on my channel before. There are like 3 or 4 different authors that write the books in the series. So this is Liz Braswell. The one thing I'm not sure of, and I started to very briefly read like the first couple of pages, and from what I remember, because I think I like read it and was like, I don't know about this, that was that Rapunzel was in the hospital in like modern day times with like monitors beeping and IVs. I think this one is going to be a little bit looser to the movie plot, but we'll see. I'm not sure. I do want to read it. It's a bit long. This is 486 pages, which is my favorite number, I'm just realizing. Those are the two Disney books that I want to read in the month of April. Get ready for the end of the month because I'll have a lot of Disney content coming for April. Prepping for the trip, planning for the trip itself. It will all be here on the channel. Next one, I want to read. This one I've been like in the mood to read for a hot minute. I don't really know why because I didn't like the first one, but I have been watching a lot of Bridgerton lately, and I never read the second book in the series, which is The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. I have the book, I'm ready, and I think the third season is supposed to come out in the spring or summer. I don't think we have an official release date. I was definitely hoping for spring, but I'm not sure. This is obviously the second book, which correlates to the second season. I would like to try and read the third book before the third season, but I need to catch up a little bit. So I have The Viscount Who Loved Me. This obviously follows Anthony, who is one of the Bridgerton sons, the heir to the Bridgerton name, and his falling in love with Kate, which we all saw in the TV series. I'm just curious about the books and kind of where she goes with each sibling and how she makes them different. I didn't love the first Bridgerton book. I actually like the TV series a lot better. I did a full review of the Bridgerton novel, the first one, on my series. I did a review of the first book in the series on my channel, so that will be in the cards, but I'm curious if I like the second one better. There's like about 450 pages in this. We're going for some chunky books this month. The next book is one that I've had for a little over a year, and I'm really excited to read. I think this is going to be a cute, quick book to read and perfect for spring, and it is The Paris Connection by Lorraine Brown. I think that, like, first of all, this cover is so sweet and perfect for spring. I think that this is going to be like a grumpy sunshine romance book situation. It follows Hannah, who is on a train to Amsterdam with her boyfriend Simon, going to his sister's wedding. They do not realize this, but at some point in the middle of their journey, their train is set to split and they're going to different places. He ends up going to Amsterdam and Hannah ends up going to Paris. So she's stuck on this train ride in Paris without her boyfriend, without any of her stuff, and she's headed to Paris. There she meets Leo, who's a handsome, very grumpy Frenchman who shows her the city of light, but is really frustrated and kind of blames her for all of his problems and for the train delay happening. So that is what we have here. This feels just like kind of a sweet, charming little delight, a springtime delight. April and March for me still feel that kind of dark academia, classic literature vibe of late winter, early spring. Personally, that's just how I view the month. And with it, I have one book that's loosely related to a classic. It's not actually a classic, but I got this recently and I think this would just be very fun for a rainy April day. And that is The Murder of Mr. Wickham. Oh, hello. The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. This is a kind of whodunit clue style murder mystery based on the characters from different Jane Austen novels. It's described on the back as a fusion of Jane Austen and Agatha Christie, which are two authors that I've been really enjoying recently. I think this is going to be great. All of these characters gather for a dinner party. They are having a dinner party, but Mr. Wickham is not invited. But they are all kind of shocked when he turns out dead, and they are trying to solve which among them is the murderer. This is a little bit of a longer book, but it looks so fun, and I just love books about literary characters that feature classic literature books and just like classic characters that we know and love. This book is 375 pages long, so it's not terribly long. I just think this is going to be really fun. Like, for example, I read a book that featured Alice in Wonderland as a character and Shirley from Anne of Green Gables. So I just think this is like such a creative delight. I love when people play with existing characters and storylines that we know, and to combine it with Clue, I think is just such a good idea. This is the last book I have for this video, the last one that I'm hoping to read in April. This book I think is just beautiful and I am so excited for. This is another one that feels like a great blend of dark academia and springtime cottagecore for me, and that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This cover, beauteous, simply gorgeous, beautiful. This takes place in England with a Cambridge professor, Emily Wilde, who is kind of writing this compendium volume of lore and origins of fairy mythical creatures. The premise of this book is Emily is working on this compendium. She goes to do research and she travels to the north of England to do so, to find this very secretive fairy, the Hidden Ones, or this secret kind of fairy, the Hidden Ones, and she ends up in this tiny little town, and she meets this kind of like grumbling character that just like is kind of nosy and gets involved in her research and just confuses her. So that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I think the setting combines that dark academia with the subject matter, fairies being a little bit more cottagecore. I think that combined is like a picturesque, perfect springtime read, and I think April will be a great time to do it. This book doesn't seem terribly long, looks just over 300 pages, maybe 315, and I think that's perfectly reasonable and that I could read in a couple of days. But this is just so beautiful. This has been on my TBR in my bookshelf for a little bit now, and I've been so excited to read it, and I'm finally ready to do that this month. What I'm going to do now is go put these in my little TBR box. In last month's TBR, I dedicated one cube of this bookcase to be just for my TBR for that month, so that'll be the little section at the end of this video, which is going ahead and filling in that. So the last section of this video will always be filling in that cube and filling out my planner for the month. Let's go do it. For April reads. Let me know what you're thinking of reading this month, what you're excited about. Are there any springtime reads that you will be focusing on? Let me know in the comments down below, and leave me a little tulip flower emoji for spring.